Hello and welcome to S24 Rundown. I am Zainab Ibrahim and here's our news in brief. To start with, tragedy has struck in northeastern Nigeria where dozens of civilians, many of them traders, are found dead following a military airstrike that hit a crowded village market near the border of Yobe and Borno states. The incident reportedly occurred during an operation targeting suspected insurgents, but eyewitness accounts suggest the strike missed its intended target and instead impacted a civilian-populated area. The Nigerian Air Force says the operation was aimed at identifying terrorist location in the Jili axis, where militants were believed to be gathering and carrying out activities. Still in Yobe, a youth group known as Unguru Inamba Feta has called for the governorship ticket of Yobe State in 2027 to be zoned to the northern part of the state, describing the demand as a matter of fairness and justice. Speaking at a press conference in Unguru, the group leader Ibrahim Mohammed Abakar argued that since the return to democracy in 1999, political power has largely remained in Yobe East, with only a brief interruption by the late Mamman Ali from Yobe South. The group further noted that Yobe North, also known as Zone C, has never produced a governor, deputy governor or minister, despite its contributions to the state's political landscape. They emphasized that the zone has been sidelined in key leadership positions, with even the secretary to the state government position held by the same individual for over a decade. In another news, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has released an updated list of its convention committee and various subcommittees ahead of its national convention scheduled for April 14, 2026. The announcement was made in Abuja by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, who explained that the update is aimed at improving coordination and ensuring a smooth and credible convention process. Also, the federal government recently announced an improvement in Nigeria's electricity generation, which rose from 3,951 megawatts to 4,300 megawatts between March 28 and April 10, 2026. This development was reviewed in Abuja through a statement by the Special Advisor to the Minister of Power on Media and Communication, Bolaji Tunji. He explained that the increase reflects earlier promises made by the Minister of Power, Adebayo Delabu, to improve electricity supply within a short period. According to the statement, the rise in power generation was largely driven by an increase in gas supply to terminal power plants. Gas supply improved from about 605 million standard cubic feet per day to over 704 during the same period, which significantly boosted electricity output. The German embassy in Abuja has announced a job opening for a full-time administrative officer in its political department. According to the notice, the embassy is seeking a case worker who will work 40 hours per week, with employment expected to begin as soon as possible. The position is initially for 1 year, but may be extended to a permanent role depending on performance and need. The successful applicants will be responsible for monitoring media reports, engaging with political stakeholders, supporting diplomatic activities, and organizing events such as conferences and briefings. And finally, on the international news, Ukraine and Russia resume overnight drone attack following the expiration of 32-hour Orthodox Easter ceasefire that had been ploughed by widespread accusation of violation from both sides. Ukraine reported that Russia launched 98 drones with its air defense system, intercepting most of them, although an infrastructure site in the region was hit and the extent of casualties remained unclear. In response, Russia said its forces shot down 33 Ukrainian drones. Now moving on to business news with Hadiza Galadima. Hello, Hadiza. What should we be expecting today?
Thank you, Zainab. Good afternoon and welcome to the first business news update for this week, Monday, April 13th, 2026. I am Hadiza Galadima. We track a major resurgence in the Nigeria equities market and significant moves in the fintech space, while globally, a massive multi-billion-dollar buyout bid for the world's largest music group dominates the headlines. Here are your top business stories you need to know. The Nigerian exchange is witnessing a historic rally this morning following FTSE Russell's decision to reclassify Nigeria from unclassified back to the frontier market status. This upgrade has acted as a massive buy signal for foreign portfolio investors, leading to a capital gain of approximately 1.36 trillion naira in the last few trading sections alone. All shares index has, all shares index have crossed the historic 200,000 basis points mark, signaling renewed confidence in Nigeria's long-term microeconomic reforms. And in the tech sector, Flutterwave CEO Olugbenga Agbola has announced plans to establish Anambra State as the company's primary hub for the Southeast region. Leveraging a fresh banking license from the Central Bank of Nigeria, the move is designed to boost local digital trade and support small businesses within the state's vibrant commercial ecosystem. The initiative was unveiled during a strategic meeting with tech leaders in Awka, aimed at scaling the digital economy beyond the traditional Lagos hub. And still in the financial services space, OPay has been named Nigeria's most trusted quality mobile money and digital finance services company at the 2026 ISO World Corporate Brand Awards. With an online referral rating of 4.6, the company was recognized for its role in deepening financial inclusion and maintaining high compliance standards. This comes as the company continues to expand its reach, supporting tens of millions of Nigerians in everyday digital transactions. And finally, turning to the global stage, shares of the Universal Music Group surged over 11% after a massive $64 billion buyout proposal from Bill Ackman's Pershing Square Capital. The offer represents a 78% premium on the company's last closing price. If successful, the deal will place one of the world's most valuable music catalogs, including artists like Taylor Swift and Drake, under new ownership, marking one of the largest private equity plays in the entertainment industry this decade. That's it for the business bulletin, but don't go away. Coming up next after the short break, we dive into the headlines and editorials making the rounds this morning. Stay tuned for our newspaper review segment with Zainab Ibrahim and Abubakar Turaki. They will be breaking down the front pages and the stories behind the stories. I am Hadiza Galadima. Thank you for watching, and we'll be right back. 35 years, one mission, building trust in Nigeria's business identity. From entrepreneurs to institutions, CAC is the engine behind formal business existence, helping Nigeria register, structure, and grow. Today, CAC processes close to 10,000 business registration requests daily, powered by evolving digital systems, including AI-enabled service delivery. And beyond registration, CAC handles about 5,000 customer inquiries daily, supporting Nigerians with guidance and resolution. Because in today's world, credibility is currency. CAC's beneficial ownership register strengthens transparency, free to access, while protecting personal data in line with privacy standards. When businesses are registered properly, opportunities open, banking, contracts, investments, jobs, and growth that can be trusted. CAC at 35, honoring legacy, strengthening trust, and powering the next Nigeria. Register, verify, and grow.
Welcome back from that break, and thank you so much, Hadiza Galadima. Point of correction, we do not have Abubakar Turaki on seat today. We have Shukra Oniye. Hello, Shukra.
Hello, Zainab.
And this is our newspaper review. Of course, I'll be having my conversation today with Shukra, like I said, because Abubakar is not on seat. So we'll be starting immediately with our first paper, which is The Punch, and it says, Military Defense Borno strike as death toll rises. Shukra, what would you say about that?
The airstrike that happened in Borno/Yobe in the market, I would say it's a miscalculation.
Okay.
It's a miscalculation on the parts of the NAF.
Yeah.
Because the market is full of civilians. It's a Saturday market by civilians. Although they claim that ISWAP and Boko Haram usually operate around that part. But the fact that they strike a market full of people, and some estimated deaths are over 100. There are lots of casualties, over 100, and some people are currently in the hospital.
Yes. You know, we got that information that it was a mistake. But the problem here that I want to converse with you is that the military are not taking ownership of their mistake. Instead, they are saying that anyway, it was, there were, you know, terrorists there anyway. So are they defending the mistake they've done?
I would not exactly say they are defending the mistake because, and I will not say they are not owning up and they're still owning up because they acknowledge the fact that there was a miscalculation.
Yes.
But the fact that they are claiming that it was supposed to be for ISWAP, the airstrike was supposed to be for ISWAP and Boko Haram, they refuse to acknowledge the fact that civilians died.
Yes.
They refuse to acknowledge that fact.
Yes.
And they say they are still setting up a committee that is supposed to confirm if civilians actually died. Meanwhile, the Yobe State Emergency Agency claimed that a lot of civilians died and there are casualties.
Yes,
and even
but these people are saying that they are just terrorists. Meanwhile, we've heard that the markets have been closed for like how many?
5 years.
5 years back. But so who are the people in the market? And why are these people saying that they're terrorists residing in a market?
People claim that there are people, they're not terrorists. If it was terrorists, it would have been clear and obvious. Nobody would have said it was civilians.
Is it not a problem that there is no accountability? Because who take accounts for the people that were dead, their family and all of that?
It is a big problem because children died, women died, men died, people lost their families, people lost their jobs, people lost their means of livelihood.
Yeah.
And they are not taking accountability that, yes, we made a mistake. They are claiming...
Is it too bold for me to say that the Nigerian army are lying?
I would not say it's too bold.
Okay, I just want to leave that topic, so we'll not say what that's a trouble. So let's move to the next headline, and it says, Insecurity ex-IGP, CSO's lawyers orders call for state police, and this is on the Leadership newspaper. I think we've had this conversation even before coming in. So what do you think about the creation of state police?
It has been going on for like a while now. It's not now. But recently, due to the rise in insurgency, it's been on the rise more. People have been calling for the creation of state police. Yeah. But experts do not want them to create state police.
Why do you think they do?
Because if they do, they believe that state governors will use them for their own personal interests. And apart from state governors using them for their personal interest, I mean, they are organizations that are not exactly police, but they act as police in some states, like ISWA, like ISBA.
What do you think? I feel like it's going to be a good thing for state police to be created, you know, create some kind of security agencies that are very close to the grassroots. Or what do you think?
Yes, you're right. Yeah, it is a good thing. It is a good thing if it's created, but under it, like it should be supervised.
Yeah.
By still.
Okay, that's where the problem lies. So how do we assure people that this will be supervised? Because even the ones that are not state police are actually used by politicians. So how do we confirm that these state police are actually going to go there and do what they're supposed to do, not?
It will all be written down. It will be a whole new law on its own. Okay. That
do you know why I laugh about the fact that it's going to be, because we have a lot of laws in Nigeria. I don't think our problems are lawmaking. Our problems are implementation. So it's not going to be, it's not a law written thing. Is how we sure that these people are actually going to be used for the actual thing they are meant to do and not used as puppets.
How are we not sure that they are not going to be used for the actual thing that they are meant to be used to do?
Okay, you're throwing back the question.
I'm not throwing it back at you. I'm thinking we should actually give it a try. We should give it a 5-year try.
Yes,
and if Nigerians realize that they're actually not being used for what they're supposed to be used to do, then we should call for the cancellation.
Actually, because, we are experiencing a lot of insecurity,
Insurgency.
yes, in Nigeria right now.
Yes.
And if there's any measure anyone is thinking that it's going to work for us, I think we should just go for it, because it's so sad. Look at what we are thinking, okay, we depend on the army, but look at the army are not even accountable for what they have done. They're supposed to protect lives, but I don't know what kind of mistake. Yes, it's a very deadly mistake. We're talking about lives of people. It's not something they can correct. But so how do we confirm that these people are actually terrorists and not people? The people residing there are saying that, okay, they are people, they are our people. But the security agencies are saying that, no, they are not people, they are terrorists. So... Exactly.
Because they're the ones that lose their families and friends.
Because I don't want to believe that the people there are going to be there covering up from some terrorists. So it's a big issue. So whatever measures we are trying to implement to curb insecurity in Nigeria, I think they should try the state police idea seriously. What are the odds? Yes, there's no new law that we have, and it will not have the but I think
because if you implement the state police, they are used to the terrain, they are used to the people, they are used to their community. It's their community.
Yes, they are indigents.
Yes.
So they better understand the pain of
and
the
that
people.
way, any government of a state that values the life of its people will be able to influence and implement, put more money in the funding of the state police and action and law that can protect its people.
I would have loved to continue, just like I always love to continue newspaper review, but of course we have so many other segments. I will want to give room to the other segments, and we are going for our S24 report shortly after the break, of course. And my takeaway from what Shukra says, governors that actually value the life of their people. But we'll end here today. I'll move on to the next segment.
Justice isn't just a legal concept, it's an economic reality. In commemoration of International Women's Day, the Center for Information Technology and Development, CTAD, in partnership with ActionAid Nigeria, hosted a vital 2-day refresher training under the theme, Justice, Action for All Women and Girls. Building on the 2024 pilot success of the Village Saving and Loan Association across 14 rural communities in Abuja, this section brought together 42 women to sharpen their expertise. The curriculum was rigorous, covering everything from record keeping and interest calculation to conflict resolution and leadership. It's about more than just money. It is about empowering women and realizing their economic rights and drive to collective justice. CTAD lead team, Yasmin Salako, emphasized that clarity is the foundation of growth. She noted that the refresher was essential to ensure every participant fully grasps the purpose of the initiative, moving from simple savings to sustainable financial independence.
We have some processes that it takes to form those groups, how the groups is being maintained, what are the meetings that they do, how are the money being shared out, what are the interest rates, the loans that are taking place. So we realized that some of these women are still not getting the process very right, and we thought it's very much to still bring them together, to have a refresher training, let them share experience, to hear from other communities, what are they doing right, what are they not doing right.
Representing ActionAid Nigeria, Hajara Adamu highlighted the scale of this impact. With a presence in 10 states and 97 communities, ActionAid's mission remains clear: securing the rights of women and girls through structured community-led support.
ActionAid is a feminist organization. We talk about, it's all about women's rights. And why we focus on women's rights is because our broader mission is to eradicate poverty from the world. And if you look at the world, those that are mostly affected or that are living in poverty are women all around the world. And that's why you see that we focus our activities more on how to work with women to bring them out of this poverty.
For the participants, the numbers only tell half the story. Many shared moving accounts of how this cooperative has transformed their lives, restored dignity to their household, and fostered a newfound sense of security within their families.
Actually, it has helped me a lot, and also I also understand that how a woman can depend on herself without waiting or begging from her husband in terms of this VSL because of the contribution and the loan, and the way she will take a loan and manage it in her own business.
ActionAid and SITAT have helped us a lot. We don't have anything that we offer to them because before we are suffering for our children. Our children are not going to school, and when you are pregnancy, before you reach hospital, you will give birth in the road, and before you reach road, sometimes bleeding will take the life of the mother or the child. But now we have enjoyed it.
Thank you for this ActionAid SITAT for encouraging us in this business, because since we start this business, we have no money to improve the business. But because of the ActionAid SITAT, they really encourage us, especially in our community.
Through financial inclusion and shared bylaws, these 42 women aren't just saving for tomorrow. They are leading the charge for justice today. Hadiza Galadima reporting for S24.
Welcome back from that break, and this is Political Arena. My name is Abubakar Traki. Since the dawn of Nigeria's Fourth Republic, many political parties have struggled to define a clear ideological identity, often prioritizing personality, regional loyalty, and short-term electoral gain over a coherent policy platform. This has contributed to a political landscape where parties' affiliation is fluid and voters frequently make choice based on individual candidate rather than party principle. I will be having this discussion with my guest, Charles Doke. Charles, welcome to Political Arena.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So, as a public analyst, since the return of democracy in 1999 to then, many political parties lack coherent ideology. If you look at the First Republic political parties, the Second Republic, and the aborted Third Republic political parties, the likes of NEPU, the likes of Jam'iyyar Mutanen Arewa, and the likes of Action Group, and many more, and NCNs, most of them have internal party ideology and political ideology. Why do we have a drug in the Fourth Republic?
Well, in between those parties that you've had, first, second, aborted third, and all that, there's always been a prolonged presence of the military. So you definitely are able to see that it's like a generation apart. If you're going to look at the time that President Babangida was in power, it was a long time. And when it came back to democracy, it didn't take another, did it even come back? And then before you know it, Abacha was there for a long time. So they're like generations actually apart. And then, of course, from 1999 is when we can sit down and say, okay, we now have a nascent democracy that has birthed the kind of power parties that we have never had any truncation and continuity from that time up to this moment. So from 1999 to 2006, barely 17 years, yeah.
Okay. Internal party conflict is inevitable.
Yeah.
And these days we have experienced internal conflict from the strongest opposition party in Nigeria. Before it was PDP. Before it was PDP, and now it is ADC. But from all indication, based on reports and based on what we see, the ADC is like an internal party democracy. In your own opinion, what led to this internal party democracy?
Well, the symptoms have always been there. The ADC is just a classical representation or example of political parties that are everywhere in Nigeria. There are lots and lots of political parties. And except you're not brought to the limelight, the symptoms of these same problems are always there. One party that I know had managed its own internal wranglings at the initial time because they wanted to take over power was the APC. You remember it was not more than a year that the APC came together with CPC, with ANPP and all that. They put themselves together and they were able to wrestle power from from the PDP. They were able to manage that very well. But of course, even they themselves presently, they have lots of problems. That's why you have the issues of them. El-Rufai is going out of the party. You have people, the party walls are now very fluid. People move in and out depending on what their whims and caprices. And I tell you, it's all about their own interests. So the reason why you have, everyone was clapping and applauding that, okay, the ADC is a new opposition. But if you sit down and look at it, the ADC was just the same with other smaller parties, the APGAs, the PRPs of this world, the SDPs. This is the same kind of thing. It's just that when some of these disgruntled politicians, as it were, are not happy with where they're coming from, or their parties have been rendered useless, let me use that particular word, or a shadow of itself like the PDP has become, they definitely have to go somewhere to be able to now find a home from where they can now start fighting their political battles. It's just like the snake does not know how to dig a hole, but then it goes and looks for the rat that has already dug a hole, chases the rat out, and then enters that hole. There's no form of democracy that is that way. And because it is coming, they are coming in their numbers with their big names and everything. The people that have held that party for all this while when it was registered, they have to cower because of these big names. So when they come and approach them, yes, we want the party to blow in the Nigerian parlance, but once they come in, they want to change a lot of things. If you have the likes of David Mark, the likes of Aregbe Shola, the likes of Atiku Abubakar, you have the likes of Kwankwaso, you have the likes of Peter Obi, all coming under one platform. And you think somebody is going to remember that there's someone called Nafiu Bala? In that, have you heard of Nafiu Bala before?
He's also parading himself as the legal chairman of the ADC.
Yes, those are the kind of squabbles that would come out from lack of internal democracy. Because one, yes, it's understandable these big wigs have come in. So when they come, there are always negotiations. That is what happens in parties. Okay, you were national chairman of the ADC. Now, we are now trying to make sure that we have some big heavyweights that will be able to, if you say ADC, you'll be like, oh, David Mark. David Mark was a brigadier general in the army. He was a Senate president for all this while. So it's a big name. Let it be that this person is the chairman of our party.
So you're trying to tell me that politics is all about, you have to know how to play your card.
Definitely. So in doing that, you're like, okay, let us just agree. You will now go back to become vice chairman Northeast. Do you understand? Okay. Yes, he's from Gombe. So no problem, I agree. So you can just let's run these things and let me be able to do that. And then in the end, you heard on Easter Day, when one of the former senators from Adamawa went live on Facebook to say this is the problem that the APC had, and that is why the person that they thought was a small boy is now coming back to haunt them. So they had that gentleman agreement. But all of a sudden, when it was time to now be able to allot those positions, they said, this guy, we agreed that he was going to take national vice chairman, Northeast. And then who was there? The former SGF said, No, you're going to represent us from the Northeast when we have the likes of Atiku Abubakar, former Vice President, the likes of me, that I was the former Secretary to the Government of the Federation. No, you cannot be my chairman or the Vice Chairman representing.
This discussion is becoming interesting.
It is.
I think we should not dwell much into that. On the aspect of, still on the Fourth Republic and the internal party democracy, you know, when you say politics, godfatherism and money politics has been playing shall I say, a vital role? We had been shaping our political, it has been shaping the narrative in the political terrain.
Yeah.
So what can you say about godfatherism and money politics as 2027 is approaching?
You can never take that one away.
Why?
Because that's the kind of democracy that we practice in this country. And I dare to say that it's a different kind of democracy from anywhere in the world. Somehow we've been able to now whip up our own definition of democracy. And you cannot take away godfatherism, you cannot take away the issue of money politics. You cannot take that. Even the government knows that once the election comes, you see the kind of money that has been set aside for government, for INEC, and then of course for the judiciary. So it's a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to do politics, especially in Nigeria. You have to have an economic war chest to be able to do that. If you don't do that, nobody sees you.
You made me remind something. You know, there's a politics between successor and predecessor.
Yeah.
Take Kaduna as an example. What happened between former Governor Ubasani and Malanas?
Yes.
Take Kano as an example. Konkoso and Ganduji.
Yes. And Ganduji. And then, of course, and Abba too.
Take Gombe as an example. Ibrahim Hassan Donkombo and Danjuma Goji.
Exactly. Yeah.
So why do we get it wrong? I believe, as a godfather to any politician, like, it sounds somehow interesting, and most of the African politics, why do we get it wrong?
Okay, the biggest factor of why we get it wrong is interest. Interest. Which
is inevitable.
Exactly, it's interest. And of course, I don't see that just interest is overvolting interest. Just like you have overvolting ambition. So you have overvolting interest. You could have interest, but if your interest is bigger than what ordinarily it should be. I'm leaving all your examples. I'm taking the example of Rivers, where, of course, we know what happened. Exactly. So if I am your godfather politically, and I've been able to pave way to say, okay, this is the person I've anointed as my candidate, that should be the person that will take over from me, that will make sure that he continues with all the things I've done. All my legacies are protected with this person. And then power is a terrible thing. You step out and then you start feeling sick because you're no longer that person that you used to be for 8 years. So sometimes you have that temptation as a human being, and as gullible as politicians can be, to want to still control a lot of what happens in that particular state, forgetting that power is transient. You've already moved it to another person. So let me just turn and face my business. Let that guy also face his business. But the moment you want to meddle in the things that that person does, it will get to a time, even a goat, if you push it to the wall, it will bite. So that's what happens.
Don't you think that, still on this godfatherism aspect, I believe between former Governor Masari and incumbent Governor Diko,
yes,
I think there's a little synergy between them.
Yeah.
So, like, do you think that Governor Masari made the right choice by putting Governor Diko there? And taking Borno State as an example, still there's a cordial relationship between the incumbent Governor Zulum, and the Vice President.
Yes. Okay, well, you see, in everything that happens, there are always exceptions. And these are just a few exceptions. So if you're sitting down to look at, let's say, 10 cases where you have a political godfather and a godson, and then the godson taking over from him, and they have squabbles, and then you find out that 7 out of 10, you have these issues, like you have the Wikis and you have the Gandujes, and then that's to tell you that most times it doesn't end well. So those, for Rada, and that one for Baba Gana Zulum, they are exceptional cases. Exceptional cases because most probably those godfathers, as it were, actually went and decided to leave these guys to face. There was no meddling in what they were doing. Masari is an old man. He has been a speaker. He has seen it all. He has done 8 years. I mean, him leaving the government house was actually time for him to rest. So he's not going to go there to start meddling in issues that the young man has all the blood and whatever it is for him to be able to do. Looking at Baba Gana Zulum, this man has already done his 8 years. He came here as a senator. And as a senator, he was also gunning. He's now the vice president. I mean, I have my everything set out before me to do. I won't be there trying to meddle in what happens in Borno.
During President Muhammadu Buhari, when he was in power, he signed a Not Too Young to Run. And it has been called the yearning and aspiration from young Nigerians.
Yes.
Do you think, in a nutshell,
yes,
2027, Nigerian youth will make any difference?
It's going to be difficult to say because very difficult to say because of two factors. Are the older generation, are they ready to give way? They are not.
But sometimes power is not given on a platter of gold.
Of course, it's not given on a platter of gold, but which young person is ready to take it? Whether on a silver platter or on a wooden platter. Nobody is ready or wanting to be able to take it. The youth have already, because of money politics, and of course because they have that mind of, let me sit down and just bear with these people, because somehow, maybe someday I will be able to, now it will be my turn and I'm going to make the money like they're making. So because of that, they don't want to shift anything. They just want things to appear the way they are.
This conversation is actually interesting, but Charles, we have to draw the curtain of this show.
Sure.
And, see you in our next.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And that is all.
On the morning of February 13th, 1976, Nigeria woke up expecting another day under the leadership of a man many believed was changing the country's direction, not knowing that by midday that man would be dead. His name was General Muritala Ramat Mohammed, head of state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, bold, blunt, uncompromising. And in just 200 days in power, he made more enemies than most leaders do in decades. This is not just the story of how he died. This is the story of why. Muritala Muhammad was born in Kano in 1938, a soldier shaped by discipline, fire, and speed. In the Nigerian army, he earned a reputation for acting first and explaining later. During the Nigerian Civil War, his aggressiveness on the battlefield made him both feared and admired. Within weeks, Muritala Muhammad retired thousands of civil servants and senior military officers. No long explanations, no committees, just action. Market traders, students, workers, to the masses, he was a hero. To the elite, he was a threat. Corruption to Muritala Muhammad was not a future problem. It was an immediate enemy. Thousands of civil servants, judges, and senior officers were dismissed for corruption, inefficiency, or abuse of office. There were no drawn-out trials, no political bargaining. Public office, he insisted, was not a private inheritance. In 1976, Muritala Muhammad announced a decision that will reshape Nigeria's future: the relocation of the nation's capital from Lagos to Abuja, a neutral city centrally located, designed to belong to no ethnic group, no region, no elite. He would not live to see Abuja built. But Abuja stands today because he imagined it first. Muritala Muhammad believed Nigeria must never appear weak, at home or beyond its borders. He rejected foreign interference in African affairs and took bold positions against apartheid and colonial control, supporting liberation movements across southern Africa. Under him, Nigeria spoke loudly. Africa
listened, and global powers took note. Friday, February 13, 1976, against security advice, General Murtala Muhammad insisted on driving himself to work. No armored car, no heavy escorts. Gunmen emerged, automatic rifles, no warnings. Within seconds, Nigeria's head of state was shot multiple times. He never made it out of the car. The car became a symbol not just of death, but of vulnerability. Bullet tore through metal, glass, and history. Inside that vehicle, a nation's momentum came to a sudden halt. This road looks ordinary today. Cars pass, people walk, life continues. But on this spot, Nigeria changed forever. No monument can fully explain what happened here. No plaque can capture the silence that followed this gunfire. Within hours, the radio announced the unshakable. For the family, there was no state power, only grief. The coup was led by Lieutenant Colonel Bukar Shuka Dimka. His broadcast accused the government of betrayal and injustice, but the coup failed. Within days, Dimka and other conspirators were arrested, tried, and executed. History remembers names, but it forgets family. Behind every executed coup plotter were wives, children, parents condemned to silence, stigma, and unanswered questions. When the smoke cleared, power shifted to General Olusegun Obasanjo. He chose continuity over chaos. He completed Murtala's transition program and handed power to the civilians in 1979. Some watched from exile, some from within the system. All understood one truth. After Murtala, Nigerian leadership would never feel the same. Murtala Muhammad ruled for only 6 months, but his shadow stretches across decades. He imagined a new capital. He confronted corruption head-on. He defended Nigeria's sovereignty without apology. To some, he was reckless. To others, a patriot. To history, a reminder that change moves fast and enemies move faster. He died as he lived, in motion, unprotected, uncompromising. And Nigeria is still debating the cost.
Welcome back. Now to technology, innovation, and the digital world with me, Gladys Emmanuel. We begin in Nigeria, where the country continues to assert its position as a major force in Africa's digital transformation story. Nigeria remains at the heart of Africa's fast-evolving tech ecosystem, with growing influence in startup development, fintech innovation, and digital policy conversations. Across the sector, there are strong indications of continued expansion, driven by a youthful tech-savvy population, rising investor interest, and a rapidly digitizing economy. From the mobile banking solutions to e-commerce platforms and digital health services, innovation continues to reshape how Nigerians live, work, and do business. However, this growth is not without its challenges. Stakeholders continue to highlight gaps in infrastructures, uneven internet access, and the need for stronger policy coordinations as key issues shaping the pace inclusiveness of Nigeria's digital progress. Even so, analysts say Nigeria's skill, talent pool, and innovation capacity keep it firmly positioned as a leader in Africa's ICT landscape. Moving on, from Nigeria to the broader West African region, where efforts are underway to strengthen digital cooperation across borders. The West Africa Telecommunication Regulators Assembly has reaffirmed its commitment to building a more secure and inclusive digital ecosystem across the region. This follows its fourth working groups meeting held in Obudogu, where regulators focus on harmonizing ICT policies, strengthening cybersecurity frameworks, and expanding digital infrastructure. The initiative works part of a wider push to unlock a projected $216 billion digital economy within West Africa. Experts believe that stronger regional alignment will be critical in accelerating growth, boosting cross-border connectivity, and ensuring that no country is left behind in the digital transition. Looking beyond the sub-region, the focus now shifts to the African continent, where momentum continues to build ahead of key industry engagements. Africa's ICT sector is gaining increased global attention as stakeholders prepare for major gatherings such as the ICT Africa Summit 2026 later this month. The summit is expected to bring together policymakers, innovators, and investors to explore opportunities in artificial intelligence, digital skills development, and startup growth. This comes at a time when many African countries are positioning themselves as emerging players in the global tech ecosystem, leveraging innovation to drive economic transformation. At the same time, conversations around digital sovereignty, particularly control over data, infrastructure, and local innovation, are becoming more urgent across the continent. And on the global stage, the conversation around technology continues to evolve at a rapid pace. The ICT landscape is being shaped by three major forces: the rapid rise of artificial intelligence, increasing cybersecurity concerns, and persistent gaps in digital access. While advanced economies continue to push the boundaries of AI innovation, developing regions are working to ensure that technological growth remains inclusive and sustainable. Experts warn that without coordinated global efforts, the digital dive could deepen many communities further behind. Meanwhile, the United Nations Development Programme, in collaboration with the Bangladesh ICT Division, has hosted the Civic Tech Innovation Expo 2026 in Dhaka. The event, held on April 12, brought together young innovators, policymakers, and development partners to advance digital governance. It also marked the launch of Bangladesh's first youth-led civic technology ecosystem initiative aimed at using digital tools to improve transparency, inclusion, and public service delivery. Participants showcased a range of solutions, from citizen engagement platforms to tools designed to strengthen accountability in public institutions. And that's ICT World. Gladys Emmanuel is on stage. Jesus.
35 years, one mission: building trust in Nigeria's business identity. From entrepreneurs to institutions, CAC is the engine behind formal business existence, helping Nigeria register, structure, and grow. Today, CAC processes close to 10,000 business registration requests daily, powered by evolving digital systems, including AI-enabled service delivery. And beyond registration, CAC handles about 5,000 customer inquiries daily, supporting Nigerians with guidance and resolution. Because in today's world, credibility is currency. CAC's beneficial ownership register strengthens transparency, free to access, while protecting personal data in line with privacy standards. When businesses are registered properly, opportunities open: banking, contracts, investments, jobs, and growth that can can't be trusted. CAC at 35, honoring legacy, strengthening trust, and powering the next Nigeria. Register, verify, and grow.
Hello and welcome back from that break. And now let's dive into the entertainment update for today. Abuja witnessed a spectacular display of luxury and culture as Sadiq Saminu tied the knot with Mariam in a wedding that has quickly become the talk of the town. From a traditional wedding Fatiha ceremony in Maiduguri to splendid reception in Abuja, the celebration featured a lineup of high-end supercars and elite guests. Music star Sheyi Vibes thrilled attenders with a dramatic entrance performance, turning his wedding into a promotional event and car showcase that reflects his passion and hustle, and social media buzzed with moments from the event. And from luxury celebration in Nigeria's capital to global music stages, the Afrobeat superstar Davido delivered an electrifying performance at the Coachella, commanding the Gobi stage with a string of hit songs as the only Nigerian act on the lineup. He showcased the growing global influence of Afrobeat, sharing the spotlight with international stars like Justin Bieber and Sabrina Carpenter. His performance has been widely praised, with fans already anticipating his return from the festival's second weekend. And still on the Afrobeat, making wave beyond borders, the Nigerian artist Omali has secured another major milestone, topping the UK Afrobeat chart with his single, I Am. The track, produced by Laker Beats, marks his second #1 for the cementing his place on the international scene, with another song from his album also breaking into the top 5. The achievement highlights the continued dominance of Nigerian music globally. And moving on the high-profile moment, Nigerian influencer Day marked her 35th birthday with a lavish star-studded celebration on April 12, showcasing elegance and Yoruba-inspired glamour. The Big Brother Nigerian star Day Ashogu turned heads in a stunning off-shoulder gold and bronze sequin gown, complete with a flowing screen skirt and a bold pink gele. Fellow reality TV star Mercy Eke and Bisola Ayola also brought their signature style to the elite event, which drew admiration from fans across social media. And finally, on the international scene, Justin Bieber closed out Coachella weekend, one with an intimate and emotional performance that divided opinion on social media. The set featured surprise appearances from stars including Wizkid and Tems, adding global flair to the performance. While some fans praised the raw and stripped-back delivery, others felt it lacked the energy expected from a headline act, especially compared to performers like Sabrina Carpenter. Despite the mixed review, the performance generated massive online engagement, proving that Bieber's continuous global appeal. And that brings us to the end of today's entertainment update. And coming up next is the sport news with Martha after the break.
Welcome back from that break. We begin in the Premier League, where the battle for the title is heating up as the season enters its decisive stage. As the season draws to a close, at least 9 players risk missing out on winners' medals, despite being part of title-chasing squads. League rules require a minimum number of appearances, leaving fringe players and recent signees in a difficult position. With the title race tightening, even the smallest contributions could determine who officially shares in the triumph. From England to ice hockey, the Anaheim Ducks remain in the playoff hunt despite an overtime loss to the Vancouver Canucks. The Ducks forced extra time in a tightly contested game but fell short in the end. However, their postseason hopes are still alive, with every remaining game now crucial. Now to women's football. Manchester United women will feature in a unique 7A side tournament in London next month, alongside other women's Super League clubs. The competition promises a fast-paced and entertaining format aimed at increasing visibility and fan engagement in the women's game. On the international scene, Super Eagles goalkeeper Arthur Okonkwo has named Dutch legend Edwin van der Sar as a key influence on his career. He praised the former goalkeeper's composure and consistency, qualities he hopes to emulate as his career progresses. And finally, back to the Premier League title race, former England captain Wayne Rooney believes the clash between Manchester City and Arsenal will be decisive. With both sides in strong form, Rooney says the outcome could ultimately determine who lifts the trophy home this season. That will be all on Sport Update. Over to our Pidgin News after the break.
Una welcome, my people. Make I give una tori wey dey happen for Nigeria reach obodo oyibo today. Bad thing don't happen for northeastern Nigeria, wey make people fear say plenty civilians, wey many of them na traders, don't even die after military airstrike hit one busy village market near border of Yobe and Borno State. The incident happened during operation wey target suspected insurgents, but people wey see wetin happen talk say the strike miss in target and instead e hit area wey na civilians full there. Nigerian Air Force talk say them been dey target terrorist locations for Jile axis, where them believe say militants dey gather and carry out activities. Another tori be say one youth group wey them they call Nguru Ina Mafita don't call make them zone Yobe State governorship ticket for 2027 give the northern part of Yobe State. They say a matter of fairness and justice be this one. For press conference where them do for Nguru, the group leader Ibrahim Mohammed Abubakar talk say since democracy returned for 1999, political power mostly dey Yobe East. Except small time wey late Maman Ali from Yobe South rule, the group still talk say Yobe North where them sabi as Zone C never produced governor, deputy governor or even minister before, even though them don't contribute well for the state politics. Them say they don't sideline the zone for important leadership positions. Even the secretary to the state government position, they one person hand for more than 10 years. African Democratic Congress don't release updated list of convention committee and different subcommittees as them they prepare for their national convention wey go happen for Abuja April 14, 2026. This one not tomorrow, and they make the announcement for Abuja through the party National Publicity Secretary Bolaji Abdullahi. We talk say the updates will help improve coordination and make the convention smooth. He say it will make the convention day credible. For federal government tori, we hear say they don't announce say electricity generation for Nigeria don't improve as it rise from 3,951 megawatts reach 4,300 megawatts between March 28 and April 10, 2026. Them review this one for Abuja through statement from Special Advisor to the Minister of Power on Media and Communications, Bolaji Tunji. He talks say the increase shows say the promise where Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu make to improve electricity supply the work according to the statement. According to the statement, the increase come mostly from better gas supply to thermal power plants. Gas supply rise from about 605 million standard cubic feet per day, reach over 704 for the same period, we help boost electricity output well. This one shows a strong connection there between gas availability and power generation for Nigeria, since most electricity are from gas-fired plants. Even though Nigerians raised alarm yesterday, 12th April 2026, say cooking gas don't increase, reach 1,500 naira per kg. German Embassy for Abuja don't announce job opening for full-time administrative officer for their political departments. According to the notice, them they find case worker will go work 40 hours per week and the work fee start anytime soon. The job now for 1 year first, but if it's on permanent depending on the performance and the need. The person will get the job go to monitor media reports, interact with political stakeholders, support diplomatic activities and organize events like conferences and briefings. Tori for Obodo Oyibo be say Ukraine and Russia don't resume overnight drone attacks today, Monday, after the 32-hour Orthodox Easter ceasefire end. The ceasefire get plenty accusations of violations from both sides. Ukraine talks say Russia launched 98 drones, but their air defense system stopped most of them. Now all the tori we bring for una today be that. Make I leave now with Zainab Ibrahim.
Thank you so much, Sadiqa Yusuf, for that version of the news. With this, we've come to the end of S24 Rundown. Please do join us tomorrow same time as you follow us on all our social media platforms at S24 Television. My name is Zainab Ibrahim.